And everything you say about society goes for a particular person. A particular person does mistakes too. But besides doing these things and making mistakes in life, probably in some imperfect way exists inside me a system of self-criticism that developed in me that allows me to also look at things from the side like you just did, regardless on what level you do it. Whether you're looking at a particular person, at all of humanity, there is a certain ability in a person that we're trying to scrutinize on our show today. The ability for self-scrutiny. It's like nature gave us a tool where besides living and learning from our mistakes and so on, evolution developed in us a super system, super critic. I'm talking only about measurements, blind measurements. Blind measurements. How many broken families did you have 50 years ago when I was young and got married? And how many broken families do you have today? How many different problems and troubles and with kids does society have today? And how much did you have back then? Do you criticize yourself? I'm not criticizing at all. I'm talking about numbers with respect to society in general. Yes. I'm asking about something else. I want to understand your self-controlling mechanism as an individual. I see you as a smart person. Do you criticize yourself, or you're living as if you're riding in a train, or do you sometimes criticize yourself? You asked the wrong person. Why? Because my self-control or self-criticism system is very developed. So that's what I want to hear about. My system of self-criticism is built such that through the wisdom of Kabbalah, I bring myself to a relatively neutral situation, neutral state, where I have to be an expert that looks at myself and says whether I'm okay or not at each given moment. And the okay or not okay, this is something that I determine with respect to a higher value that I have determined for myself. No one determines it for me. Everyone should determine it for themselves if they wish to. And that higher value is called love of others, unconditional love for others. Because this is what the wisdom of Kabbalah and the Torah demands of us. Love thy neighbor as thyself is the great rule of the Torah. So how do you criticize yourself? You set the goal of achieving love of others. You said, I bring myself to a neutral state and I measure whether I was okay or not with respect to that goal. If so, then my entire life, besides what I make in order to provide for my family, the rest of my life is aimed in order to acquire this neutral status, out of which I will know my condition, the place I am in with respect to that principle which the Torah, the wisdom of Kabbalah, demands from us. Love another as thyself, and that's it. Because from that you come to love the Creator, thy God. What do you mean by neutral? Neutral meaning that through the implementation of the wisdom of Kabbalah, I reach a state where I am under the influence of the so-called reforming light. As it says, I have created the evil inclination, I have created the Torah spice. Why is it a special spice for the evil inclination? Because there's the reforming light in it. That by correctly studying the Torah, one awakens the reforming light upon himself by that, whoever studies correctly, and he becomes neutral as a result. As it says, and you shall know the Creator, good and bad. And then, from these two sides, where on the one side there's my evil inclination, which was created this way in me, and on the other side, the good inclination, made good by the reforming light. I'm in between these two forces, the positive and the negative, and in between them I can determine what's good and what's bad, not in accordance with what I think, but in accordance with these two forces which are operating in me. And then I'm not as an expert here, but I bring myself to a state where the higher system, the system of nature, criticizes me, scrutinizes me, and corrects me. Sounds very interesting. I just saw that in a minute and 20 seconds, I explained to you the complete realization of the wisdom of Kabbalah, man's correction. So, of course, you can't understand much from it. If we take an ordinary person, you said that I have an evil inclination, different things. A person looks at himself, usually a person is very strict toward himself. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? He has plenty such thoughts up to a point where he limits himself, not allowing himself to even talk. He's afraid. How do you experience these things? Do you also have these kinds of fears and self-criticism sometimes on a completely different level, with respect to completely different principles? My criticism, my efforts, my doubts are, did I draw the reforming light upon myself in the best possible way, to the fullest extent? That's my concern. And after I do that, it itself does the rest, arranges the way I look at things, it sets my place, status, the way I see the future, the way I have to behave in each and every situation, in every place, with respect to my particular personal life, towards society, towards humanity, my role in the world. Then that higher light arranges my life. And you're not afraid of mistakes, doing something wrong. I try to be under its control, because that's the force. The only thing that I have to be afraid of is, did I do the maximum I can in order to draw it upon myself, for it to make a human being out of me? Many times in life we have to do different things that as if have nothing to do with spirituality. Like what? Work, family. There, I operate rationally, according to how things should be. Do you criticize yourself, or you only operate? I criticize myself only with respect to the reforming light, only with respect to the higher force, whether I have or don't have the ability to draw it upon myself, because according to what I study in the wisdom of Kabbalah, that's the only free choice that I have.